Everybody, this is L5, and today we have the first team building episode for my SCL tournament thing. So, this is going to be my first team for the first week. This is my opponent's team over here. You can see we are facing the Washington Blazikens. The team owner is Kurum Hunter, and this is his team right here. Right here. So, basically what I have to do is prepare for all 12 of these with my 6 Pokemon here. Alright, so let's get right into the game. So we first have Tornadus T, nicknamed TSP because this thing is a savage, versus his team especially. Life Orb Torn is very strong. Look at his team. Manaphy gets 2-hit KO'd by Hurricane unless it's super specially defensive, and even then I think it does a lot, like after rocks I think it 2-hit KOs, something like that. Mega Charizard X, that one you can go for Hurricane, and that's going to completely kill it after rocks. Raikou, you'd think Raikou is a pretty good switch into Torn, but with this attack investment, it actually dies after rocks to knock off plus superpower, unless it's running a lot of bulk. Now Mandibuzz, specially defensive Mandibuzz, is basically the only thing that can really take on Torn. Slurpuff, that thing's not bulky, it's going to pretty much die to a Hurricane, if not go down to at least 15%, and at that point you can just pick it off with any priority that I have. Nidoking is not taking a Hurricane too well, definitely not switching into it at all. And Cofagrigus, take a knockoff plus a Hurricane, that's dead. Hitmonlee, Hurricane, dead. Virizion, Hurricane, dead. Weezing, not taking 2 Hurricanes, let alone even 1 unless it's specially defensive. I think it might even die to 1. Definitely not taking 2. Tauros, hit it up with the superpower along with anything else, and it's basically dead. Poliwrath, Hurricane, dead. So Life Orb Torn does amazing versus team. I definitely wanted this over the Assault Vest because the power is just greatly appreciated. I have enough speed to outspeed Raikou by 2 points, and yeah, there's not really much else to say. I just went for enough attack to 2-hit KO Raikou because that's his main switch in, aside from Mandibuzz, which completely loses his offensive momentum. And then I just dumped the rest into special attack. So moving on, we have Megacham, nicknamed the Unstoppable Smurf. That's because this thing is pretty powerful, much like Smurfblade. So because of the Slurpuff, I don't think I'll let it set up, but if I do, I definitely want the Bullet Punch Fake Out priority combo, because otherwise that thing can completely sweep me. And so my other 2 choices, I definitely want to go with High Jump Kick for the power, and I went for Psycho Cut because he has this Cofagrigus. Now Cofagrigus is going to be his main switch into Mega Medicham, and because of its ability, Mummy, it'll actually take away my pure power if I make contact with it. So Psycho Cut does not make contact. So if I hit him with this, he'll take around 35 to 40% if he is physically defensive, which he should be versus me because of this Medicham is such a huge threat. And that'll do about 35 to 40%, and I will retain my pure power. So that thing can only switch in once, and then after I catch him on the second switch in, I can just be free to spam high jump kicks, and there's nothing that really wants to take it. Weezing will get KO'd by the Psycho Cut on the turn after it switches in, so I don't need to worry about that as a resist. So yeah, this thing is just really strong, and I really wanted it on my team. Also, I have just max speed for the potential speed tie against Manaphy if he brings max speed. But yeah. Moving on to the next one, we have Fire Monkey for the win. That's just because it's a Fire Monkey, and you know, Fire Monkey, yeah. So, versus his team, originally I was thinking, oh, I'm going to go for Swords Dance, but then I thought about it, and Swords Dance isn't really going to be getting a lot of setup opportunity. So I decided, you know what, I need rocks, so I'm just going to go for the Focus Sash lead set with the Taunt, Rocks, Overheat, and Close Combat. Now Overheat hits Cofagrigus a little bit harder, and it hits Weezing a little bit harder, so I just wanted that over the Flare Blitz, because also I don't want to kill myself, that's kind of rude. But anyways, so Infernape just there to get up the rocks, and he does Well, he has the Mana Buzz for defog, but I don't have any hazard control either. So if he defogs his own rocks away, that's good for me as well, because that means Tornadus can just do even more work for his team. And since I have Focus Sash here and Focus Sash here, I really don't mind him getting rid of the rocks for me, assuming he does get up rocks. His only real rock setter is going to be Nidoking, and that doesn't set up rocks on too many of my members. And yeah, so moving on to Dugtrio. Nickname this Alice Wells because it's weak, only base 80 attack. It's not very strong, but it can catch some people off guard. So that's why it's called Alice. Got the Arena Trap. This thing actually does a lot of work versus team with this particular set. Now, you'll see Memento in a moment when I explain Raichu. I'll go back to this. But first move, Earthquake. Now, Earthquake does a lot of damage to Charizard. Raikou, you can trap that and kill it, which means I don't even have to predict with my Tornadus. I can just spam Hurricane, and anything that comes in on Hurricane is going to get 2 KO'd except for Mana Buzz. But I can trap Raikou, Mega Charizard, Nidoking, so if he decides to switch that into something and I go for a double on Dugtrio, no rocks for him at all. It can Toxic Cofagrigus with the Toxic right here, and that thing can't switch out of me, so it is being basically forced to get Toxic, which is very helpful for my Mega Metasham. It opens the door for that. Hitmonlee, not going to be using Dugtrio versus it. Virizion, if it gets out of hand, I can always slap it with a Toxic and just kind of sack things until it dies. That's not the best option, but I could do it if I really need to. Weezing, I won't be using Dugtrio versus. Tauros, I can get a nice, juicy reversal off on it after my Focus Sash activates. Yeah, so that'll basically knock it out. And Tauros is one of the things that can speed tie and or outspeed my Raichu over here. So you'll see about that Raichu later. Yeah, so next one I have Hi Babs, because, I just wanted to have something with this nickname. And this is actually going to be a Choice Scarf Honchkrow. And that doesn't make a lot of sense at first, especially with this moveset with 2 non-attacking moves. Actually, I do have Defog, so if I need the hazards out of here immediately, I guess I forgot about it. But I do have Defog here as a Choice Scarf user. It's not going to be too good because that does also give him a opportunity to set up with Mega Charizard, which I absolutely do not want. I need to prevent that over everything else because basically once it gets up to +1, the only thing I can do is fake out, sack, and it's just not a good time. Or I can hope to have one of these Focus Sashes intact. Probably Dugtrios because, Infernape is going to be the lead of choice most of the time, and it'll probably die first. But anyways, I have Honchkrow. The Choice Scarf Moxie combo is pretty good if I can pick off a weakened member. It raises my attack by 1, and then it's basically a Choice Banded, Choice Scarfed Honchkrow. And the Brave Bird does a lot of damage to his team. His resists to Brave Bird are Raikou, which I really don't mind it getting weakened for TSP the Savage. And after that, he does not have a flying resist. So even though this thing is pretty slow and doesn't really outspeed his team, I can just stop at Choice Scarf. I might even change this to Adamant Nature. I'm not really sure about that because I kind of do want the Jolly Nature to outspeed everything on his team, but I might only need the Adamant Nature to outspeed. I'll do a little bit more calculation after this video, but yeah, this will be pretty much my set going into it. Tailwind is really helpful for my team, and if something gets out of hand, or like I see a nice opportunity to sweep with a +2 speed Mega Metasham, which can definitely happen, I can go for the Tailwind as he attacks me and I die, and then I can go into Mega Metasham and just wreak havoc. Especially with Cofagrigus gone, like once that thing gets eliminated, this thing has a lot of fun versus team, especially when it's outspeeding everything under the Tailwind. And if you don't know, Tailwind doubles all of my speed for 4 turns. So the next thing, and this is what I was getting into with the Memento. Memento is something that it kills myself, but it lowers my target's attack and special attack by 2, so basically halves the damage that my opponent can do. And then I can go to Raichu. Now, Raichu with a Nasty Plot, the Zap Plate, and this moveset in particular can definitely sweep after we get rid of Mega Charizard X and Raikou. This thing doesn't really have a counter. His only chance is going for the speed tie with Tauros at that point, because I am packing a Thunderbolt for Manaphy, Mandibuzz, Slurpuff, and you hear my dog in the background maybe. Nidoking I have Surf for. Uh, Basically, Mega Charizard and Raikou are the only things that can really outspeed and threaten this. Raikou not even that much, because I only take about 35 to 40% from HPI, so it's not really a 2-hit KO. And since I'm not running Life Orb, I'm not going to really worry about that. The only damage I'll be taking is the 1 turn setting up versus a weaker member that is -2. So, yeah. So let's keep going down. Nidoking, I have Surf. Cofagrigus, I think Thunderbolt at +2 KOs unless he's specially defensive. If he's specially defensive, he's going to be very weak to my Mega Metachan. Hitmonlee, I can go for the Thunderbolt after some prior damage, and I think that kills. Virizion can wall Raichu normally, but that's why I have the HP Flying. HP Flying is 4 times effective versus Virizion, and at +2 it does knock it out if it is max speed, max attack, which it should be versus my team for the speed tie against Keldeo and Infernape. And Wheezing, that thing is not very specially defensive. It will die to a Zap Plate Thunderbolt after +2. Tauros, Tauros I believe can take a Thunderbolt because it is like kind of bulky, not really. But then it also speed ties and can definitely knock me out with a Rock Climb / Body Slam with a Sheer Force Life Orb combination. So I need to watch out for that and eliminate that before I try to set up with Raichu, or I can just go for the speed tie if I'm feeling reckless and impatient, which I probably won't do. And Poliwrath definitely dead to a Thunderbolt. So I nicknamed this Ryan Zoo because I expect this to sweep, and Ryan Zoo definitely sweeps everyone. And this is Mo, by the way, not the actual Ryan Zoo, because the actual Ryan doesn't really sweep anyone. But yeah, that'll be my team for the week 1 of the SCL, and I'll see you guys later with the actual battle. And yeah, see you guys next time.